welcome to today's Big Brother Canada updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is no one. If you guys want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for one holla. Isn't that awesome? Alright, so, and we'd really appreciate it. Alright, so, in the house, yesterday, of course, we have Mitch and Joel up on the block, and Nikki loves Mitch. So she's trying to campaign for him. She's putting in a good word with Tim, and Tim is like, alright, I'm gonna need a couple things here, or I have to say a couple things. First of all, he's gonna need Mitch to make some promises here. He wants some safety from Mitch. And then he's bringing up how he's worried that if Mitch does stay this week, he's gonna team up with Raul again, and the two of them together are going to be very dangerous. And then he's also like, if Mitch can survive this week and then make it to the end, he's going to win. And Nikki's like, yes, good for him. He would deserve it. But it's weird because, like, hasn't Tim been saying that he wants, like, the best player to win the game, but, like, he wouldn't want Mitch to win? But, like, if he did that, he would be, like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. And it's just showing that Tim does, in fact, want to make it to the end and win, which we kind of suspected all along, but these people need to wake up. So Tim is like, yeah, I'm gonna think about it, I'll talk to him, whatever, I'm not gonna make my decision until eviction day. Oh, I'm so sure. So Mitch was talking to Phil. He let him in on his campaign plan. He said that he wants to get everyone together except for Joel, Jared, Kelsey, and Raul, and he wants to talk about the math of the game. You know, he wants to talk about the probability of each person winning up against that trio. These people are not going to get it. It's really not a good campaign strategy for him. It's like a smarter version of what Dallas was saying last week. So look how that worked out for him. Mitch wasn't even for that. He wasn't for that. And now he's trying to get everyone else to do the same thing that he didn't want to do last week. So then Mitch was chatting with Nikki. She was filling him in on her conversation that she had with Tim. And she's like, well, I really think that I can get Tim's vote for you, but you're going to have to go talk to him and make a deal with him that you're not going to go after him. And Mitch is like, yeah, I'd be happy to do that, for sure. So then Mitch holds his math presentation in the pink bedroom with Maddie, Ramsey, Nikki, Phil, Tim, and Cass. I think Nick came in at one point, too. So he was going through his whole probability thing, going through all the math with these chocolates to demonstrate, because who doesn't love a visual aid? And everyone was just like, yes, yes. So Mitch was trying to demonstrate how dangerous it is to have a group of 3 in this house, and how the odds just keep getting better and better for them to win as the game moves forward. So it, like, totally makes sense, but the big, like, plot hole here is that the numbers are still going to be the same if Mitch or Joel stay. But Mitch is trying to argue that he is going to target Jared, Kelsey, and Raul. Well, Joel is not. But, I mean, is everyone forgetting that Joel is the one who got rid of Kelsey? Do you not remember when that happened? He's already proven himself that he will do that. But Mitch is, like, insistent that he could be the one to do this. So he wants to still talk to them all individually, but he wanted to make sure they all understood the math behind everything. So Jared and Kelsey, like, find out about this meeting. Weren't they like, where is everybody? And they're just like, what is he talking about? Blah, 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 blah. So Kelsey is like, I'm going to start telling people that if Mitch stays this week, that there's going to be a new 3-person alliance in the house. Mitch, Maddie, and Ramsey. Would they actually work together? I don't know. I guess. Like, technically they would be, because they have, like, a common enemy, but I don't know. So they want to find out exactly what was said. Just ask Cass, because she's all blah, 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 blah. And Phil, like, they'll tell you. So Ramsey and Maddie were talking in the hot tub, and what do you know? They were discussing how if Mitch stays, they don't want to be seen as the new 3-headed dragon with him. I feel like we've just heard about that. But they do want to F stuff up with him. Those are their actual words. Secretly, of course. They don't want it out in the open because they don't want to be, you know, they don't want a huge target on their backs. Bigger than they already have. So Phil joined them out by the hot tub. They start campaigning for Mitch a little bit. Phil is like, I'm nervous to keep Mitch because I think that'll put a target on me. So Ramsey's like, yeah, well, we're in the same position. Like, we'd really have to be sticking our necks out there, but it could be good for us. So he's trying to explain how it would be another number for them against the trio. Joel might want to stick with them and work with them, so it's just not as good. And Phil's just like, I don't know, I'm going to have to think about it, which means I'm going to have to ask Tim what I'm allowed to do this week. So, speaking of Tim, it doesn't seem like the probability chat that Mitch gave really worked on Tim and Cassandra. They want to act like they're keeping Mitch when they're talking to Maddie and Ramsey because they want them to still vote for Mitch to stay so that they're exposed with the votes. But they're, of course, going to vote him out. So they don't want to keep Mitch because they feel like that's going to strengthen Maddie and Ramsey, and they don't want that. And then if those two are like the only ones, along with Nikki, who vote for him to stay, it's going to make that division even deeper, and then they're hoping that they'll be the targets. So Tim is like, yeah, this is all great, but we're going to need the trio to guarantee that Maddie and Ramsey are their next targets and not us. I don't think that's going to be a problem. So for some reason, Nick had to stay up all night last night, and Tim was like his supervisor. He had to make sure that he stayed up. I'm assuming that this was part of the complaints thing that they did yesterday. I think also Big Brother like really cranked up the heat and took away all of the blankets and stuff. I don't know. They were doing some crazy stuff. It was hard to figure out what exactly was going on because when they were doing the whole complaints thing, they kept blacking out the feeds every few minutes. But Nick and Tim were up all night together. There was a little bit of game talk. They both agreed that Mitch has to go this week. And then there was a lot of not game talk. They were really hoping that they'd get a reward for staying up. I don't know about that. But Tim was just like, oh, can we go to bed now? So they stayed up all night, but then Tim ended up going to bed a little bit before Nick because they were like asking Big Brother if they finished the task or not, and Big Brother would be like, I don't know, we're gonna have to check on that for you guys. Just chill out for a few minutes. And then they kept asking, and Big Brother kept giving the same answer. So eventually Tim was like, I'm going to sleep. So he figured it would be okay because he was like the supervisor for Nick. So as long as Nick stayed up. But Nick ended up going to bed at like 7:45 a.m. So I would say he completed the task. So they both got to sleep for like an hour or two, and then they had to get up with everyone else. Ugh. That's awful. So Tim was really not handling it well. He was very fragile this morning. He's like ready to snap. It's that thing when you're really tired and you just want to like cry and you're just like, where am I? So Nikki's like, I'll take care of you, Tim, don't worry. So the trio is getting a little bit nervous about Tim, not because of the sleep deprivation, but because he's freaking crazy. So they're like, what if he votes against us this week and forces a tie? What are we gonna do about that? So Jared's like, no, I think like Tim is just trying to mess with people this week and get information. Like, I don't think he's gonna do that. So then they're realizing like if Tim did vote against them, he would essentially have to work with Maddie and Ramsey. And who would want to do that? So they're like, you know what, maybe it's going to be okay. So then Cass was talking to, I think it was Kelsey, and she was like, yeah, I don't care what Tim does, if he's going to do that, whatever, like, I don't need to work with him anymore, I'm working with you guys. So she's like totally crap talking Tim, and then a little while later, she's outside talking with Tim like there's nothing wrong. So she's definitely trying to make it seem like her and Tim are not as tight as they used to be, but they totally are. So the two of them were talking about how, oh, we might be the John and Netta of this season. No! There will never be another John and Netta. Just stop it. So Cass brings it back to the game. She's like, we need to take out Maddie and Ramsey next because they're coming after me. And Tim is just like, I guess. So then they just talk about how they feel like they're in a really good spot right now. They're in good with the trio. They feel good about the brothers. All right. So Mitch, Nikki, and Maddie were strategizing, trying to come up with some plans to get votes this week. And Maddie brings some interesting information to the group. She's like, Jared and Kelsey approached me and Ramsey to make a Final Four deal. And she's just like, I don't want to work with those mother effers, like, no effing way. And Mitch is like, wait, this is great. Like, you don't have to work with them, but we can take this information to the brothers and maybe get their vote this week, because they'll be like, holy crap, Jared and Kelsey are playing everyone, can't trust them. So Maddie is telling Ramsey about this potential idea to bring to the brothers, and Ramsey's like, I don't want to share this information. So he doesn't want to go through with this plan. He doesn't want to, you know, ruffle Kelsey and Jared's feathers, because he thinks if they just keep it hush-hush, it'll buy them some more time. He doesn't want to go against Jared and Kelsey, and I think that's really lame. But anyway, that's where we're at right now. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm sure there's going to be more campaigning from Mitch and Joel. I feel like Joel is not really doing much, but I don't think he needs to be worried at this point. So we'll see what happens. But until tomorrow, much love.
Edit.